I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back.
Yo, what's up? Mike from Copville here to talk about Tasty Gains creatine gummies. I would never push a product I don't use. I didn't take creatine until I ran into Tasty Gains and started taking these gummies because they're simple. No powder, no mixing, just pop a gummy in, 1 gram of creatine per gummy. What are the benefits of creatine? Increase water to the muscles to get that sick pump in the gym. Better recovery, more power during your workout, and studies are now showing it's helping with the brain, which I need all the help I can get. So go to tastygains.com, use code COPVILLEOG for 20% off. This is the real deal, simple, easy, and we'll get that pump going so you look good for the ladies or men. What's going on, guys? Back with another Locked Up with Copville podcast, and this one is going to be my favorite. This is episode 25, so it's a good number. This is Jack Gerstmeier. Jack, what's going on, man?
How's it going, Mike? How you doing?
And the reason we're here with Jack is this is the result of, I know there's a lot of crude things I post, a lot of wild stories and a lot of wild memes, but through that comes a story like this, where we're able to touch somebody who's going through something and make a difference, in my opinion, and help somebody that really deserves it. So I'm gonna let Jack kind of introduce himself and tell a little bit of his story, and we'll talk about it. But this is by far, so far, my favorite episode that I'm going to record.
All right. Thanks, Mike, for having me. I really appreciate it over the last couple months. This has been quite the journey. I'm 23 years old. I've been a cop in Wisconsin for about 2 years now. I started when I grew up. My dad's a firefighter, so I grew up around the first responder scene. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I got to high school. But we had a school resource officer when I was in high school, and she kind of gave me the ropes early on of like, hey, you should maybe think about going into law enforcement. At the time, I wanted to do military service, but the issue that came up was when I was 10, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So that kind of put everything on the back burner for that, but it gave me something else to look forward to and focus my passions towards. I ended up having a couple criminal justice classes in high school, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And then you're like watching cops growing up, and you're talking to all these people, and you're like, this is exactly what I want to do. And for me, like, one of the big things that really drew me to law enforcement was, at the time, the brotherhood that is talked about. So I ended up graduating from high school. I went to our local technical college and got an associate's degree in criminal justice. And while I was there, I ended up doing, I don't know what you guys, if you have programs down like in Florida, but we have a community service officer program. So kind of like police aides. So while I was in college, I ended up picking that up. And I was like, thought I found the department I wanted to stay at. So I put my application in. And within a year and a half, I became a full-time law enforcement officer.
Awesome. So you when you say type 1 diabetes, that's a serious one, right? You have to wear a monitor or anything like that?
Yeah. So I wear a continuous glucose monitor. You kind of see it on my arm right here. So I got one of these, and I have an insulin pump.
So you're starting out already.
And
you're a big guy though. So you don't look big on camera, but you're a big dude. So you're a big guy. You're starting out behind the curve. Obviously, you have a uncurable condition, diabetes, type 1 diabetes that lives with you forever. But so already a story of overcoming. And people say, somebody said, people say, oh, you wrote something, I overcame type 1. There's no such thing as overcoming. You basically pushed past it and you survive with it every day, but it's there for the rest of your life. And I want to point out the irony in how you became a cop was 2 of the biggest things I cook are female cops and SROs, and you got your inspiration from a female. You were telling it, and I was like, "Ooh, that's funny." But again, a lot of it is jokes. A lot of it is not, being funny. There's like, we like to pick at each other. Some of it is warranted, but so you overcome type 1 diabetes. You still have it, and you become a cop. And that, unlike me, who didn't have that dream, that was your dream. Correct?
Yes, that was That is all I dreamed about growing up. So I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I mean, in high school, they push all the time. Hey, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to get a degree. You got to find something where you're going to make a bunch of money. And for me, it was like, it's not something I'm interested in. I want to find something I'm passionate about and can be like, hey, I'm proud of like what I do. So that's like how that
How
started.
was your so dad being a fireman, was he proud of you? I'm sure first you stayed in you weren't a fireman, but you stayed in the first responder field. How did how was the support from your parents to become a cop?
They were super supportive, and the best part, I think, growing up around some of these like firefighters and first responders is everyone's just very close knit in the area, and you become a family. So you're always talking to them and picking their brains about things. So the amount of support I got from my parents was amazing. I don't know what I'd do without it, because I even went through some of my stuff in my own department where I was like, if I didn't have them, I don't know where I'd be. You kind of lose track of your support when, you know.
And you know, as an outsider looking in it, I like to think, like I said, I'm not very smart. I'm not intelligent. I'm not book smart. I'm street smart, which got me by through law enforcement. And when I met your mom and dad, it took, and even through DM, but when I met them in person, I could immediately see the compassion and love for you, and how they're proud of you. They are, and it's genuine. And that's like reading informants or reading anybody else at a call, like something I was, you know, not all cops have it, some do, but I could immediately see like the tight knit family, the proud, your dad, like just you have a great support system there, and it's good to hear, because some people don't. But
Yeah,
everything you're going through and have gone through, that I'm sure makes life a lot easier on you.
it does, because even, well, and I'll get to my story now. But earlier this year, so April 26th, I was diagnosed with ALL leukemia. So I'd worked the night prior. I had an SRT try or SWAT tryout that I wanted to try out
Hot
for.
boys.
Yeah, SWAT boys. And I, with being how physically fit I am, I mean, I run, I lift, I do all sorts of things. I ended up having somewhat of a medical emergency during my SWAT tryout, and I lost my vision for like 30 seconds, completely went black, started vomiting, couldn't walk straight. So I was honestly on edge, because I was like, oh, maybe it's a diabetes thing, maybe not. Maybe I'm just stressed, who knows? And so I went upon the day, ended up doing the rest of the SWAT tryout with vertigo. So I'm doing obstacle courses with vertigo, and I'm like, oh, I feel like shit. I can't. This is
Yeah,
not.
and for anybody who's not been through a SWAT trial, I know they're not all the same, but you pretty much feel like you're dying the whole day anyway. So it's like you don't know if it's real, you don't know if it's a medical condition. You are just suffering to the point that you're just like, I'm gonna die anyway. I don't know what it's from. So I can imagine that you probably are thinking, well, this just might be the trial. Like I'm just getting beat up. So yeah, yeah.
So I get through everything, and something wasn't sitting right with me, and I went home, and I was all pissed about my performance, which is normal, right? That's just how we are. We always want to go to a higher standard.
Mhm.
And I told my mom, she's like, I don't think that's normal. So I
Yeah,
was like,
the
okay,
20,
like,
30 seconds not being able to see is not normal.
so I got an appointment at an eye doctor, and they did an exam of my eye, and on the top right corner of my eye, I had a hemorrhage. And I was like, oh, that explains a lot. But since I have all my diabetes issues, they're like, hey, maybe it's because of this. So they'll go see your primary care doctor, go see your endocrinologist, and then go see another eye specialist. And I was like, okay. So the diabetes doctors were like, hey, everything looks fine, I'm not worried. I was like, okay, still no answers. Went to go to the eye doctor. They said nothing was wrong. And I was like, okay, now we're on my last resort. So April 25th, I went in, which is my last day of work. And I went into my doctor's office, and he's like, hey, everything looks fine, but let's just run some blood work. And I was like, okay, whatever. I just got to get up before I go to work. So get blood work done, go to work. I ended up working some overtime. So ended up working like 12 hours. And I was like, okay, get home at 3:00. Not a big deal. I fell asleep, and this is Friday, a Friday. And I wake up the next morning at like 8:00 to like 15 missed calls from my doctor. And I was like, oh, that is not, not the phone call I want. And I was like, started to read the transcripts on like my voicemail. And I'm like, oh, this is bigger than I thought. And I was like, I remember even to this day sitting on my couch, I'm like, oh shit, he just told me I had cancer. I was like,
So you actually talked to him, or you saw it in the?
He called me and I actually talked to him. He's like, hey, like, I hate to drop this on you, but he's like, I'm like almost 100% sure you have cancer. I was like, all right.
No, let's stop right there for a second, because that, you know, I think about that, and of all the things you're going to hear, you know, that's got to be personally. We always filter the stuff that comes at our own way. It's tough people. We're like, all right, I got a broken arm, I got this. You know, a family member dies, or something happens to somebody close to you. I feel like you have this massive emotional dump. Explain to me because I don't know. Explain to me what that felt like, honestly. Like, what does that feel like when somebody tells you something that you have no idea what the outcome of your life is going to be from that moment forward?
Yeah. So that was, still to this day, it's one of the hardest things to talk about. But
if you're good with it, like,
no, yeah, we can talk about
okay.
it. It's like the world stops, and you're like, and everyone thinks about cancer, and it's a scary thing. But you're like, oh, this is it. Like, I'm on like a ticking time bomb. Like, at some point, I'm gonna go. And all the hard work, like, it's like your life flashes before you, and you're like, all this hard work you put into something, and you're like, I'm getting it. I'm getting after it. This is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm gonna do it. And everything just came to a screeching halt. And I remember just sitting in my room. And it's like, I was quiet. I started tearing up, but I didn't move. Like, it was like I froze, and I went like code black, you know.
Are you religious?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you talk to God that day?
I did. It was a rough talk, because after all the after all the other things I've been through in life, especially with the diabetes, getting that young, and then thinking that, you know, the diabetes would cancel out getting cancer. I was like,
on the bingo card, or you're supposed to, like, hey, you got me on this one.
You got me, but
can I get through the rest of this like unscathed?
Yeah. So it was just one of those things where you're just like, you didn't know what to do. And even going to the hospital, I was, you know, laughing in the car because I had no other way to like respond to my parents. My parents were like at home. I just saw them. We were about to have breakfast, and I'm like, oh, this is.
So he told you to go straight to, like, after the phone call, he says go straight to the hospital.
I went straight to the hospital. So I got that call around. Oh, it had been like 8 or 9 o'clock in that time frame, and by the time I hung up that phone, he's like, head to a hospital in Milwaukee. He's like, they're waiting for you already. I'm like, oh, so this is worse than I thought.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm like in the car, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And
that's got to be the longest drive. I mean,
it's
just in my mind right now, it's piling up. So it's like, I mean, I'll give you an example. My dog ate candy earlier, like he got in the pantry and ate like nerds, pralines. Like, I'm talking a lot. And we were in the pool, and I'm thinking, like, I'm nervous, calling the vet. Like, so that's my dog. I cannot imagine that drive and the conversation with God, then the drive, and there is no, are you thinking in your head, like, there is no quick answer? I'm sure you want immediate answer. I'm sure you want a yes or no, like, as soon as you roll in. But in your head, when you're driving, is any of that crossing your mind? Like, you don't know how long this is going to last, or you're not sure what's going through your head at that point?
So, like I said, you get to the point where you're like, I can't do anything. I can't move. I can't think. But then you have like little thoughts that just kind of buzz in, buzz out. And so I was like, oh, how long is this going to be? Like, what's the rest of my life look like? Like, I just started my career, and now I'm like, oh, I can't work. Yeah. And so I get to the hospital, and everyone's like asking me all these questions. And I just remember like staring at a wall, and I'm like, they're trying to talk to me. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I was like, it's kind of hard to drop, hey, you're 23 years old, you have cancer, like, on somebody and expect to get an answer from them.
I mean, I don't know what I would do, man. And I'm double that. You know, I'm more than double your age, and having lived almost 50 years. I don't know. You know what? I think you're built better than me. I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I'm as strong as you, man. I don't know, man.
I didn't know how strong I was until I went through all this, which definitely put me on the right path. But while I was there, I was in the emergency room for about 6-7 hours before they finally admitted me and sent me up to a cancer floor.
You don't even get in fast with cancer, huh?
No. You wait in that ER. It's like you're getting cleared. Like, you're taking a
Milwaukee. You're in obviously a big city ER. It's probably a nut house in there.
Yeah, it was a busy hospital in the morning, and I finally get up to my room. I start talking to the doctors. They're like, hey, you for sure have cancer. Now, like, this is without a doubt what's happening. We don't know what everything else is going to look like. And you're like, okay, cool. You just talked to me and said, I have cancer, but we don't know what anything else. So we're not going to say anything. So the one thing they did tell me is I got stuck to like a really small, like hospital room. It was, I'd say smaller than like a dorm. And I couldn't leave the floor. I couldn't leave. I was on a transplant unit, so I couldn't leave past a double door and I couldn't even walk the hallways. So now you put all this stuff that's been compounded, and now I'm stuck in this room looking out a window. And I'm like,
and they haven't told you, obviously, so infant. You don't know if it's terminal, what stage, where it's at. You just know you have cancer at this point.
Yeah. So they just said, hey, you have leukemia. We just don't know what things look like until we run more tests. And they're like, we can't run more tests until, 2-3 days later. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay. So
it doesn't. So like the way the universe was formed doesn't make sense to me. Like evolution doesn't make sense. And now this is, to me, is like trying to calculate light years in my head. Like, that doesn't, I don't even know how to compute somebody telling me you have like the worst thing you could ever possibly have, but give us 3 or 4 days and we'll give you an update. Like, I know that's the way it is, but it doesn't make sense in my head. Like, I can't imagine the feeling that you're going through at this point.
Yeah. And during that weekend too, I remember vividly because like you have all these questions. You're like, hey, what's it look like? How long do I have? And I remember I went in on that Saturday, and about Sunday afternoon, Monday, they came into my room and they're like, hey, if you didn't come in or you didn't do your SWAT tryout, you would have been dead in a month. And I was like, oh, wow. I was like, we're really,
I got a month left.
I got a month left. Ticking time bomb over here.
So they were serious. They said, had that, well, obviously that would have probably, you might've gone another 6-7 months until something really bad happened. And then it's weird how that, like, and there's where God, maybe, give God a break there. He threw you a little, maybe he did throw you a bone on that one. It's like, it's a lot of these times I hear these stories, it's something completely off the wall like that leads you to where you are. But yeah, that, and then hearing that, I guess that, I don't know how to take that. Like, okay, good. I would have already been, does that mean it's faster now? Am I going to die anyway? Like, I'm sure that's all going through your head.
Well, they were like, our big concern with you was like, you lift all the time, and I didn't have any like blood clotting factors. So if I would have had like some type of like bruising, I would have just internally bled. And I was like, that's crazy to like think from, hey, I'm just tired working overtime, doing cop shit. And now it's,
you have cancer.
You have cancer. And I was like, I didn't correlate that because it's like, if you don't feel good, I know some people like look up WebMD and the first answer is cancer. And you're like, okay, whatever. It's just a stomach ache.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, it was weird going from how healthy I was, working out, all this stuff to all of a sudden just like stopped.
Well, you weren't. You just didn't know it. You weren't healthy, but your body was like not to that point yet. So I can imagine, like, you're just, dude, I just ran. I just went through blurry vision tryout. Like, I'm good. And to be told that, and I guess, you stub your toe or you hit yourself with a hammer, you can feel and see it. When you have cancer, I'm sure initially you're like, well, I don't feel any different. I can't see anything. Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know?
Oh my God. I remember because within that first month, I was like, I feel normal, which was the big issue. Is like, I don't feel any different. Once I started getting chemo, I was like, and then all of a sudden it just like hit me. And I was like, this is what everyone's talking about now.
So tell us how that gets. So so you're finally diagnosed. How long after you go to the hospital are you finally diagnosed with the exact
type of leukemia? I think they came up and told me around like day 4 or day 5. They kind of had an idea. I had to go through bone marrow biopsies. So they had to take a drill into my hip and remove some of the bone marrow while I was awake, which was not fun.
Oh.
And that's like how they figured out what cancer I had. But the bigger issue was they didn't know how to attack the cancer I have because I have certain health markers I'm reaching. So they didn't know if I was going to go with an adult route of cancer treatment or a pediatric route. And the pediatric routes, even though I'm 23, they're really strong because most people past 28, 30 can't deal with the regular or the pediatric version of
so the kid's body's a little tougher because they're younger.
Yeah. So they're like, we're going to try to push as much at you as like fast as possible, but still in our time frame. So then the questions start coming in about, hey, when can I go back to work? Because at some point you're doing all this stuff, and you're like,
well, and I imagine just like when you plan, like if you have a bunch of chaos in your life and you plan a vacation for 6 months, all you're doing is let me get to that vacation. Let me get to that. Let me get through these days. Let me get through this shift. One more shift down. I'm going on vacation. So I'm sure you're like, how do I get this out of my body? And part of that is probably in your head. You correlate it with going back to work. So that's your end game, is getting back to the job.
yeah. So that was my big focus, is like, hey, when am I going to go back? And they started dropping like 1.5 years, 2 years. And I was like, my God.
Did they ever tell you might die? Did those words ever come out of their mouth? Well, tell me how that conversation goes. When they,
that's when they came in about me like possibly dying within a month. They were just it was weird, because I appreciate what doctors do. Sometimes they're not people, like people.
No bedside manners.
Yeah. The bedside manners was not what I wanted it to be. So it's, you might die in a month, but like
solid.
You're like, thanks,
solid.
guy.
You might live, you might die in a month. We don't know you. We'll see you in a month. We'll let you know.
We'll see how things go. So I ended up staying in the hospital for 28 days. And that was the longest 28 days of my life. You're stuck in a room. You can't walk anywhere. You can't work out. You're not working. I was like, what the hell am I going to do?
Let me just, for everybody listen, let me just think about the 3 things he just said. Working out, working, and I forget what the other one. You can't, what was the other one? You can't work out. You can't, whatever the other one was. None of those.
I couldn't move around. I couldn't walk.
So you get back, you think about people that are like having a pity party. And you just talked about going back to work as a cop, being able to work out and being able to get up and move around. And that to me is like, that speaks volumes of your character and how you're built, because everybody else, including myself, would be probably throwing the biggest pity party on earth about other things. I'd be, oh my God, like I'd be a baby. You're talking about being fit, being a cop, and just being able to move around. And that's mind-boggling to me that's what you're talking about. And that just shows your like, I guess that everybody stripped down to 0. It's like, you just want to work. Like if I can just work again, but I think everybody else would be hoping and wishing for a lot more things than that. But I applaud you that those are the things that drove you in your head to beat this thing, man. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. And it's cool, because I find myself as a very like dedicated person. Once I find something, like I always want to do it. And that's how I was with lifting. I used to compete in bodybuilding. And then I was like, oh, I want to keep getting faster, stronger. Like that's all I want to do. And I started doing that with work. I'm like, hey, I want to, do X, Y, and Z. I want to get this Travis up, get this gun, get these guns, get these drugs. And all of a sudden just everything is just done. And you're like, oh my God. And I had a hard time, but when I got in the hospital, I was like, one of the things I told myself was I wanted to be upset. And I was, but I couldn't make that my personality, was being upset and moping around. And so I decided to like really think about what I wanted out of life, and everything just started, clicking. And I was like, okay. And while I was there, I was like, that's when I reached out to you. I was like, this is the hardest time. I was like, I'm gonna be vulnerable to somebody, but I want to tell them that I appreciate them for.
And you picked boy, oh boy, they're going to put you back in the hospital, have your brain examined for reaching out to me.
So for a year, even before like I got all this cancer stuff, and it's like community service officer time, like I was following your page for a while, and then getting to like watch all these Jerry Worms memes was the highlights of all of this. It just makes you want to do more.
Yeah.
So
very unreal.
So I messaged you, we got in contact, and every person that came through my door within that month, we would watch Jerry Worms's 5-10 minute video we found on YouTube, and I'd watch and be like, this is what we want to be like.
You know what? And honestly, and some of the academies, I know these guys that teach down there in our local academy still play. That should be I know exactly what video you're talking about. It's like a 6-minute clip of all his encounters on the cops show. And if you don't get excited, I would watch you. Fuck the lie detector test. Fuck the CVSA. Fuck all the physical. Pete, I'm going to play that video. I'm going to watch you react to it. And if you react to it the way I know, hey, man, go get in the car. We're starting FTO. Or if you react to it the wrong way, I'd be like, go get another job. Like, you're right. That is like, cop 101. Like if
It
that
just
doesn't
makes
get
me
you
so
excited, that's
Oh,
it. That's it.
so once I started doing that, I was like, I need to give myself a ritual when I get chemo. And I was like, I'm going to get the Jerry Worms rookie card shirt. Like I got it here. That is
Autographed, right?
It's autographed. To stay strong on it. It's
That's
my
the man on there. There you go.
Every time I got chemo, I wore that shirt, and everyone's like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "We're watching the video."
You got If you ask the
And you're
question,
gonna know.
you got to see it. Yeah, Saint Jerry.
Yeah, Saint Jerry, protector of the goons.
Yes,
So
yeah.
I had my shirt, I had your stickers and patches, Jerry Worms patch, everything up in my room, and I was like, gotta make this as comfortable as possible. But when I got out, I continued to stay in touch with you guys, and then you got me in touch with Jerry, and man, like this whole experience has sucked. I'll kind of go back a little bit. I didn't realize my department didn't have short or long-term disability, which became an issue when I needed to find income when I'm stuck in a hospital and they're like, hey, you're going to be out for about 1.5 years. And I'm like, oh God. So I didn't have any of that. And I wasn't even vested into the state pension plan. So I couldn't get any disability from them either. So I was kind of in this conundrum of like, what do I do? And I wish going back, I'd really look into like benefits. And when you talk about like the PTSD stuff or anything health wise, because at 23, you think you're invincible.
Yeah. And that's a great point for anybody listening that's a young cop. I know the old guys in the agency are a bunch of grumpy shits that sit under trees and all that. But if you're not going to study the material yourself at like the annual health fair or all that benefits, reach out to me or reach out to somebody that's older and been through it, because even investing money at that age is important. But man, you got to make sure you're right. Unfortunately, it seems crazy to me, but when you sign your name on that line to be a cop, you should be protected under all circumstances. That's my 100% opinion. But since we're not, and I'm not going to turn this to a soapbox, yes, you need to talk to people in your agency and about your benefits to make sure there's AFLAC, there's Colonial Health, there's short, long term. You have to make sure you get that stuff, because God forbid you have something happen to you like Jack had.
Yeah, because I would have never thought that cancer would have been on the list of
It's not on anybody's bingo card.
Yes, you're like, I'm not gonna, whatever. I don't need the disability stuff, and you're like, I'm gonna go be a cop, and I'm gonna go get after it.
It's like car insurance. We don't want none of that extra coverage. We just want the basic, and then then you're like, oh shit, I wish I'd had that rental car coverage now. So, you're right. You need to make sure you're not breaking the bank buying trucks and fancy things, and not making sure your family and yourself are taken care of in a tragic incident like this.
Right. Yeah. So I'm very thankful for the support system that I currently have, because without them, I don't know where I'd be.
Let's talk about that real quick. So if you want to help, if you're watching this, you want to help Jack out, he has a GoFundMe. It's right here. If you go to GoFundMe, help WPD Officer Jack Gerstmeier's fight against leukemia, you can donate. He's got his Jerry Worms shirt on there. We would appreciate the help with him income-wise, obviously going through this without long-term disability, short-term disability, fighting cancer. All he wants to be is a cop. And if there's ever a guy you want to give some money to and help out, this is the guy. So if you can find in your heart to go to this, to go to GoFundMe and assist Jack and his family, it would be greatly appreciated.
Anything's appreciated. And even connecting with people over this time has been something that has done more than sometimes even people donating. Like even when we went down to the show, like meeting some of the guys from Miami-Dade, those guys are class acts.
Yeah, I understand you and Luis have come real close. I was talking to him yesterday. I gotta send him stickers still from that event. But yeah, we were talking about you like 2 days ago.
Yeah, we've been we talk about maybe like every other day, and then I'll stay in touch with Jerry. But that show did a lot for me, more than I thought. So
it did. It did a lot for me too, man. I mean, it did, and I'm glad we pulled that off.
Yeah, I told my
amazing, and everybody got on board, and it for anybody who didn't watch it, it was a live show in Miami in August. It's on Counterculture. We have a whole segment with Jack, but he got to come down and meet everybody, and for a Counterculture, a bunch of morons that we are, it was an emotional moment that I will remember the rest of my life as and I said it, if I don't care everything I went through, everything I did to get me to this point for that day, I'd get demoted 10 times over and I would do it all over again just to make sure that that day happened.
That was, like I said, what's one of my highlights of my life, just going down, talking to everyone. It was great. And so now that this is all over, it's like staying in touch with you guys has been amazing. Like I love talking to people. I love sharing my story. I've never been one to talk about myself. It's just an odd feeling. You're like, it's almost like showing off, but you're like not. You're just trying to tell someone about you.
Yeah.
And this has got me out of my comfort zone for sure, because I was like, I don't really want to talk about it at all. But over the last couple months, I've talked to a lot of people, and they're like, every morning you should wake up, write down 3 gratitudes you have for the day, something to be thankful for. As shitty as some of these things have been, find something you're grateful for. So a couple weeks ago, within a week, I had like 3 or 4 blood transfusions due to the chemo. And I was like vomiting for like 10 minutes a day, nonstop, on the floor, sweating. Like I couldn't control anything. And those little gratitudes got me through my worst days. Cause I was like, oh, I'm just going to focus on the worst thing. But it's like when you focus on your support group, who you're surrounded by, what you're doing, what are you doing that's different than anybody else who's doing this? Like, you're setting yourself up for something else that's not focusing on being all sad because you have cancer. So I was really happy that I did that. And then I got in contact with a nonprofit called Blue Cancer Connect. And Vicky Speed, it's out of Los Angeles. Her husband died of cancer, and I got in touch with her through the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, and her and I ended up talking. I kind of shared my story, and she wanted me to, keep talking about it. And then she gave me a mentor as well. So I ended up talking to a guy from Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, and him and he kind of like, when I'm having a bad day, a bad cancer day, I reach out to him because he's like, I know what it's like. He's like, I'm gonna be there for you. And a couple weeks after that, that bomb went off at the apartment complex.
Oh yeah, the SWAT guys. Yeah, the SWAT guys got.
Yeah, and so I ended up reaching back out to my contact, and I was like, hey man, I'm thinking about you today. Like I'm here for you. And that moment, I realized that me sharing my story and me helping other people was bigger than just me being a cop.
Yeah.
And that's like how I've really looked at everything for the last couple of months, is just like, there's something more. The silver lining is you don't know what it is until later on in life. Like God did this for a reason. There's some reason. It may not be the right one, but there's something else bigger planned. And that if I can help like one person in my entire life, like that's a positive.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure anybody watching that's going to watch or listen and hears you have not taken, not one time have you complained, pity partied, or anything. And that is, again, that's beyond my wildest dream, man. Because I've run it. Obviously, I've thought about it in my head. What would I do? What do I say? But everybody's got a different. I'm a baby, dude. Like when things don't go my way, I've gotten better as I've gotten older, but it's tough. I don't know. Obviously, that one's real serious, but you're right about being grateful. And there's 2 ways I'm going to say this, because my page is very attacky when it comes to like out of shape cops and the memes and then administration. But those people, I think, especially administration, they don't treat people well. And that's where I come after them. But when I look at the other thing you're saying about being grateful, I am grateful that I was able to get into a position, and this is nothing about me. I'm just a nobody cop. I did my job for 23 years. I'm a nobody. Not important. But just getting here to this point sometimes gets this stuff rolling to where other people get involved in things. And that's what I look at this podcast and the page, and it's never going to stop being funny and crude and whatever else it ends up being. I don't care. But at the end of the day, being grateful and making those connections with people and having people like you come on to tell your story, because there may be one guy right now that got that diagnosis yesterday, and he's sitting in the hospital right now with that same feeling you had. And he's going to watch this episode, and he follows Copville, or he knows whatever, and or he knows somebody that and he watches this episode and he says, man, this dude did it. I can do it. And that could, that's the difference between giving up and, your body fights better when you're mentally in it and you're fighting. So you're right. That is so important to be grateful. And we all take life for granted at some point. I'm sure, I'm just reckless sometimes with some of the stuff I do and say, but kind of like my rant this morning about my time, like you're on God's time, dude. Now, like we all are, but you turned it up a notch. Like you're not only on their time, you're on like the big man upstairs is
he's watching. He's ready.
Yeah, but I think he would be. I'm sure. And you talk about what is the reason. Jack, the pre-cancer guy, may have just gone about it and kept quiet and never touched anybody's life. Not unintentionally, not because you're a bad person, but you may not have. And then as a quiet kid like you are, you just would have navigated your career and been done. Now, due to tragedy, you turn it into something terrific and you start getting out here talking to people and being motivating. And maybe that's, God had something for you. He's like, all right, quiet kid, you're not going to just do your job normal. You're going to go talk about cancer and you're going to make other people realize they can get through it. So that's one way that I look at it for you, is like, you're a very inspirational kid, man.
Well, I appreciate that. And like I said, back to I just want to help people at this point. If I can even just advocate for people, or people even have like questions. I know I think on your page or I think you reposted some guy in Tampa ended up having the same cancer I did. And it was a GoFundMe. And it's like, that's the type of person I need to reach out to. Cause like, I want to tell them like, hey, things suck, but it's going to get better at some point. And it's all about how you direct yourself. So I'm just happy to be able to be that voice.
Yeah. I mean, and, you have aspirations of palm trees one day?
Oh yeah.
I don't want to talk about that too much, but you weren't even supposed to come here. We lied to your doc. Sorry, God. I think we fabricated a story to your people up there about where you were during the, and I, of course, loudmouth here blabbed it right to the internet on the podcast. I also blabbed where other people work, and I guess I wasn't supposed to say, but
that's all right. We all laughed about it. we were all looking at each other like, oh, did we really just say that?
Yeah. So where do you like where are you in the puzzle or the timeline right now? Where do you stand at this moment?
So right now I'm about 4 or 5 months in
of your year and a half, what they told you.
Year and a half of chemo. And the other thing that kind of could change the direction of how things go is I have to get another bone marrow biopsy. I have to get one after every cycle of chemo I have. And this next one decides if I need a bone marrow transplant. And I didn't realize much about bone marrow transplants till they're like, your hair color could change, your hairstyle could change, your blood type's going to change. You have to get revaccinated for every vaccine you had as a kid because it switches your entire genetics. So new blood type, like I don't want that.
How do you find a donor for how does that system work?
So apparently I don't know too much about how they find donors, but apparently they get a lot from Europe for some reason. Because I think people get like a month off of work if they
start drinking tea.
Yeah. I think they get a month off of work. So they do in the military. In the military, they do that so they can get.
You do that here, you'll have a line around the building.
Yeah, right. So if that happens, I'd probably say my road to recovery is probably like on that 2-year, 2.5-year mark.
This next hinges like it could be good news.
It could be good news, and I'm hoping for it. As much as also, like I said, sucks. I'm really been focusing on. I'll take the small wins, and even if I have to do it, I will just be thankful that I'm still here and I can still eventually go out and do my own thing.
Since you've started, and I'm sure they give you update. I'm sure you're anxious too. Has there been any do they steer clear of any like updates? Like, I'm sure you're like, hey, I'm good now, right? I'm out of here. Like, how does it's like asking a doctor, anything. Like, I might still have the flu. Well, we don't know. Like, you're asking.
You have the antibodies. Like, it's
how do they navigate when I'm sure you want to ask. I'm sure you try not to ask, but when that conversation happens, what is it like when you ask about an update and try to get some feedback?
It's not very clear cut. It's a beat around the bush type answer and response. And so then that's what I've also learned is advocating for myself is like, hey, I understand you don't know, but I'd rather know something than nothing. Because if you're going to tell me I have to wait a month.
Yeah.
I don't care. I was like, just tell me something that tells me like, hey, this is what it looks like, good or bad. I don't care. I just want to know something.
Because I'm trying to resonate my head. This, I guess, would be like, to put it in the meme world, because I'm a clown. This would be like the lieutenant saying, "I really need to talk to you. Come in a year and a half, and I'll tell you what it is." Like you're just every day you have to be like, "Is today the day? Is tomorrow? Am I going to get an update? Is something going to break?" And then you go in, and you have to go to the doctor, and then it's like, "Okay, here's more blood work. What is it? What is it?" You know, I'm sure you got it. How do you control that? How do you control your mind?
And that's a tough thing. My doctors told me not to go to the gym. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to the fucking gym. I'm gonna lift. I don't care how much.
You have the same disease I have. You have gym disease. You have, like, that's the only place that I can make the pain go away.
Yes, it's kind of like you saying you do like going to do cardio twice a day because you're like, I'm going to lose my mind if I don't go.
I woke up 6 this morning and did 1,300 calories on the arc machine.
Oh
like,
gosh,
I got it, and it's the longest. But yeah, I have to go do something because that's my good place. So for you, the gym has become rebirth as your good place.
Yeah, that's all it's been. Because I mean, it's tough, like, because I'm not allowed to go into like super big crowds, so I can't go to like baseball games. I can't go to concerts and things I used to like go enjoy do. So I have been trying to find like new hobbies, and even like watching some like training stuff for cop stuff, like, and then listen to your podcasts and then everyone else's podcasts under counterculture. Like, that's what I fill my time with. Going to the gym, I started golfing and listening to these podcasts.
Man, so yeah, I mean, you don't drink or anything like that. Obviously, they probably turned you off to that.
I every once in a while I have one, but I'm usually pretty on the straight and narrow, and because I don't want to set myself back up too much, where I'm like, oh, now my liver enzymes are all messed up. I was like, I only got one of those. So
put you in a box when we get done. So mind control's tough. I mean, when you have if it gets, I'm sure there's days where it just gets bad.
Yeah.
For somebody who's at that point where they're losing the battle with their brain, what would you suggest they do, or what resources do you know of that can help with that kind of thing?
First thing is I know it's tough to say. It's easier to say it than do it, is to find the one thing that you're thankful for. And like I said, mine is my parents. I don't know where I'd be without them. I'd say it's not looking good if that's how it was.
A lot of people say that, but having met your parents, if there was a definition of what you just said, that you guys are at that family. Yeah. Your family is amazing and tight and the greatest.
As I just talking to people, I think once you start talking through how you're feeling, because as men, we don't really talk a whole lot about how we feel, because eventually it's just going to happen one day and something drastic is going to happen and it's game over. Mm-hmm. And I think being more vocal about like how you feel, especially like going through this, like just telling my mom, hey, I'm not feeling good today. I feel miserable. I feel like I can't do much. She's always there to like give me that helping hand and really push me to be better, not only for myself, but for everybody else, because whatever feeling you have, when you project that out, that's how the group feels. And so for me, I don't want to be the person who's bringing everyone else down because I'm not feeling well. I want to, no matter what it is, I just want to bring someone to smile and then call it a day. Like that's all I care about. And so I'd say talking about how you're feeling, researching different places that you're passionate about. I mean, and getting that contact with Blue Cancer Connect really, really helped me, because I didn't feel like I knew a whole lot about cancer and then cops with cancer. And so now we have a specialty that is helping people across the country, and she's going to departments and telling them, hey, this is what cancer looks like. This is what this person's going through that you don't see. They may think you're okay, but they're not. And I'm glad that those resources are out there. And even if people like have questions, like I'm always free to talk. Like I'd rather be there for somebody than to just watch from the sidelines.
Yeah. It's wild, man. It's I knew this was going to be one of those episodes. This is a big one. This is like I said, this is number 25, and there was good ones for admin and going after stuff, but this is beyond that. This is life, and the curveballs of life and the things we can't predict happen, and you know, everybody handles them differently. It's awesome to see you handling it this way. And, you know, at the core, I think everybody, even people who don't project happiness or care at the end of the day, I don't think, you know, anybody wants to really die or go down with cancer, especially fighting and suffering. So I think but like you said, to me, the brain seems, and I guess it's the gym. Like I physically feel like nothing can stop me. Even at 49, nothing can stop me physically. Mentally, though, like you said, that's where the toughness is. That's where it's tough. Is like, does your brain give up before your body does? And I'm sure there's studies that show people who attack cancer aggressively, stay fit, stay active, probably do better. I don't know that. I'm just thinking based on
it is. It's like a 40%. Like it's wait. I'm trying to think about the statistic, but I saw it on the Blue Cancer Connect pages. Like it makes the cancer go away faster, 30%, and that's better than zero. Like any activity is good for you when you're in that state.
And that takes brain. It takes you having a support system and your brain being able to push the body to say, no matter how we feel today, no matter how whatever, we're gonna stay active. We're not just gonna be sedative and sit here. And, you know, that's general in life. It should be, but now you're fighting, you know, the worst disease known to man. And I could only, like I said, I didn't know the number, but I figured there was statistics that showed that being motivated and pushing harder, like you said, 30% is, if you had a 0%, that ain't good. If you have 1%, it's better than 0. And 30% sounds pretty damn good when you're fighting for your life.
It does. And very thankful that is kind of where I'm at. And even when I got out of the hospital the first time, when I saw you're doing your month run club,
Don't say what it was called. Don't say what it was called. Okay. Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna do that. It gave me a challenge, and I like giving myself goals and challenges to reach, because that means I can break through that mental fortitude and your physical abilities. I was like, it'll be crazy if I can do my 1.5 miles in under 14 minutes with cancer. I didn't, but I tried.
Well, and that's where talking about like all this stuff we do. And, you know, when I first started lifting and getting serious in the gym, I was 38. And what motivated me, and I don't know, some people say it's shitty to do, whatever. I never set a tripod up or anything, but I posted online my workouts, and especially my runs and my times. And what that made me do was, one, I knew it motivated me during the run and go, you can't post this run if it's slower than yesterday's or 2 days ago. You have to be, I don't care if it's 1 second faster. That was one. And the other thing was, if one person was like, hey, I'm like you did, I'm going to jump in and go run 2, or I'm going to try to challenge him. And that is what I look at as like motivation. Then you carry that over into the podcast world, where it's like, oh, my agency talking shit, the admin, when I first started this, oh, this moron just on there rambling, he's a podcaster now. But look at some of the things that we've accomplished and we're bringing to light, from the negative side of like admin to the positive side of what we're doing with, for you. So it's like, I'm nobody special. None of this is, but together, all of us together create something special. And that is the ability to touch other people that are suffering, get tough guys to maybe get mental health help, or reach out to somebody, start to tell admin, hey man, it's time to stop messing with these guys. Like, you're causing a lot of their problems. And then, helping like Sal Odradi get connected with the Pipe Hitter Foundation to get money, helping you with your GoFundMe. And then, you find Blue Cancer, and now you're able to get it out there to some that I never heard of, and, probably never would have. So these things collectively together with the right group of people, no egos involved, is a really powerful thing as we put this counterculture and thing together. And that's all it really is to me. And, I'm sure people think I'm a cocky piece of shit, whatever they think. I make fun of SWAT. I do all that stuff is jokes. And I've said this numerous times. Now, that page is for joke and laugh. Some of it's crude, some of it's bad. But at the end of the day, the audience grows, and we are able to touch more people's lives and get people involved, and not doing it in a shitty way, which is like the TikToks on duty where they're trying to make money. Do I make money from this? Absolutely. Do I donate a lot of money? Absolutely. And it is what it is. But collectively together with guys like you, and you would never had an audience by yourself. That's one way I look at it too, is like, you can go stand on the corner with a sign and you could put nobody's gonna. So it takes all of us with some part of this chain to make this whole thing spin.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're doing here. So Jack, you anything else for anybody before we go? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to pop? How do I know you run merchandise as well? So
Yeah.
Go ahead and let them have it.
So I currently have a link tree up. I have an Instagram that my mom's helping run called Back Jack's Fight, and it's just a progression of how I'm doing in the hospital for people who want to know. And then it has a link tree we had some T-shirts that we made, and then some stickers and PVC patches to put on things. So we made those and then put them on a website just to find something different than just your basic fundraising. Just something a little lighthearted and to have fun with it. So Mike, I'll send that over to you.
Yeah, hold on. I'll pull up your Instagram. Hold on. That way everybody can see it. So here is the share screen. Here is the Instagram page for those that are listening. It's at Back Jack's Fight. For you guys that are watching, this is the Instagram page. There's a link tree there that can help with what he's talking about there. So there's that part, and you can keep going.
Yeah. So that anything you guys want to, if you guys want to donate, you can. If you want to just see how I'm doing, that's the other reason why we put that out there. But I'm very thankful for having this opportunity, Mike, and to share my story, because this is something that I needed to get off my chest and to talk to other people about. And I don't think I would have done it without you guys, especially like you, Jerry, all those guys. You guys have been there for me, and it's means more than I think you guys will know, because I'm like, if I don't know.
It's like I said, I started out being really wild on here and fighting with other pages, and I didn't know what to do. I was hiding behind a name. I really didn't know what my place was. I was going through my own war with the agency. So it was like a outlet for, I'm actually glad the first page just got destroyed. I'm glad that first page went away. I really am. 135,000. I'm glad it went away. It restarted. It almost like that turning point where that old stuff went away and I started over, and it went in a whole new direction. And I realized the power of social media and the good it can do. So that's where we're at. If anybody, obviously, you can reach out to me on the page, and I can get you in touch with Jack or anybody else that needs any of those resources. But I will say again, making friends with you and your family and being able to connect you and Jerry, this is the greatest. This is the greatest thing that this page will ever have done. I will look at it like the humbling moment for me that this is all bigger than just some stupid page and memes, and it really does touch people. And I feel gay just talking about it. But I mean, it's tough as I hope I'm losing my toughness, but no, it really is. And Jack, I appreciate. I know you were nervous, and it's not easy to sit in front of this thing and ramble like I do, but just like everything else, God has put you in a position to touch others and reach out to people and be a resource for everybody. And I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your family. And I appreciate you being part of the Copville counterculture family. And I appreciate you coming on, man.
I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you so much.
Sir.
I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back.